All right, we'll go ahead and open up the Fort County Commission meeting, and this is Commission meeting 2024-28. And we'll do a call to order. We do have Commissioner Snook on the phone here for those in the audience, and we have a full group. So I'll start us off by a prayer, followed by a pledge of allegiance, and yeah, we'll start off that way. Join me. Father in heaven, I just want to thank you so much for this beautiful day and for this time to be together in Fort County. I want to thank you so much for the commission and the ability to come to you with decisions on business and how to move this county forward. Father, thank you so much for your blessing over us with first responders and employees that do the work of the county, that assist in the daily lives of everyone. I want to thank you so much for your guidance and your wisdom over us and helping us to move together as a team to help this county move forward. I want to thank you so much for your blessing over us, and would like to say a special blessing over Pastor Albert Schrock, who is not with us, and just ask that you watch over him. And want to thank you so much for your time on that. Ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So we have been asked to make a motion to table what would be on your agenda. It would be under the county administrator's report. It would be the planning and zoning and environmental health, a special event application. I know several people in this room are here just for that topic. We're being asked to table that until the next meeting, which will be on the 3rd, because the 2nd is Labor Day. So I make a motion to table the planning and zoning environmental health special event application. So we have a motion and a second by Snook. And I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay.
Chairman, if I may, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda as well.
Okay.
To include a resolution, and I'll explain this a little bit. I apologize, and I apologize to the public because I kind of dropped the ball on getting this onto the agenda and onto the agendas that you have in your hands. This is stemming from some discussion that we had at the last meeting about changing or looking at possibly changing some zoning regarding solar farms, and I was supposed to get this put on the agenda, and I got busy with my own things and forgot to do it. So I'm asking, and I'd make a motion to amend the agenda to include a resolution regarding solar farms, and we want to put that into the spot there where we just took out
Sure.
the planning and zoning one, drop that into the number 3 under administrator's report.
Okay, we have a motion and second. And just to be clear, this is to amend the agenda on,
It's to include a resolution regarding solar farms.
okay. And that was the one that we got a draft?
Right.
Okay. All right, so I'll call a vote on that to amend the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes to amend that. Okay, next up is a public hearing. This is for industrial revenue bonds for the Bowman Enterprises LLC, which is the Wheel Roads Feed Yard project. So I'd open up a public meeting to receive any oral or written comments on that, if there are any. So do we have any written comments that came in? No? Seeing no movement, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and the commission can discuss this issue now.
Mr. Chairman, would you like the representative
representative from Gilmore Bell to come up and explain that.
Yeah, please.
Do you want to come up, Joey?
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Sarah Steele with Gilmore and Bell out of Wichita, and we have worked with the Bowmans regarding this expansion of their feed yard. They are at the point now where they want to have bonds issued. Those will be issued in next week, on the 28th. So in advance of that, we had to hold the public hearing because there were two amendments.
Okay.
Most importantly was the costs have increased on the project. And so they did have to increase the overall cost to $18,500,000 as a not to exceed amount. They also realized that the owner of the property is Bowman Enterprises LLC. So we needed to change kind of the tenant under the IRB documents from Will Road's feed yard to Bowman Enterprises. Again, related entities, but had to do that to satisfy state law. So the first action that we would need you to take is to consider an amended resolution of intent that incorporates those two changes. So the increase in dollar amount and the change in the name of the company.
So I'd make a motion to adopt the amended resolution of intent, and that was number 2431. For $18,500,000 as presented by Gilmore Bell.
Have a second.
With the motion second, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, the next action item is the resolution actually authorizing the issuance of these bonds. As I mentioned, we're planning on closing this bond issue August 28th. This is the final action that will need to be taken by the commission to authorize the issuance of these bonds. As you recall, this is not in any way an obligation of the county.
Right.
It's purely an accommodation for this project to receive the sales tax exemption during construction and then a property tax exemption on the additions once construction is complete. There's also an element, a portion of it has qualified for federally tax exempt bonds as solid waste disposal. So I think I misspoke on the sales tax. Heather can correct me on that one.
The project is already sales tax exempt.
Yeah, never mind that.
Yeah.
That is frequently a benefit, but
Right.
in this case, there is a property tax exemption on the improvements, plus there is a portion that will be federally tax exempt that is being marketed by Fraser Lanier, that has worked with the Bowmans on implementing that. So the resolution before you is simply the last action item that needs to be taken to authorize the issuance of the bonds.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-32 for the issuance of these bonds.
All right, we have a motion second to adopt resolution 2024-32. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Now there'll be many documents to sign.
Right.
We'll handle that later.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, next up is the consent agenda, and this is the approval of meeting minutes 2024, 24, 2024, 25, 2024, 26. We have additions and abatements. There was one, 2023 PP, and then we have the Kansas WIC local agency contract.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second it.
All right, so we have a motion second to approve the consent agenda. I'll go ahead and call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Next up is approval for claims for payment. This is the amount of $826,225.54. And I'd make a motion to pay the claims as presented.
I second it.
We have a second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, this is the part of the meeting where we have open public comment. Please limit it to 15 minutes per topic, 5 minutes per individual, and final action may be deferred until the next county commission meeting. The microphone is available. Feel free to come on up and just share with us what you have to talk about.
Thank you very, very much. I have been advised by Melissa Drake that this has been tabled ahead of time. I came to the meeting, one reason I wanted to make sure the people I couldn't contact that didn't get that notification were told. And two, I looked at this as a golden opportunity to go up to bat twice. Because this is turning into a baseball game with 9 innings. This is the third act, so I'm not going to refer to it as a baseball game, okay? I have some handouts I wanted to give to you for your consideration when this does come up. Pictures that have been taken of the site. If I can approach it, I'd like to hand it out.
Yep.
Thank you.
And you can give Debbie
Absolutely. I
Snooks.
brought lots
Perfect.
of paper for me, and I feel sorry for the trees. Okay, anybody else would like a copy? This also applies to you, Sheriff Clark. You might want to look at it, and I'll be glad to give you one too. Anyway, as I mentioned, I'm looking at this as an opportunity to voice my opinion and the facts of this case so they can be considered at the next meeting. I was hoping that our last meeting would be the last act. It's not. I think they're going to continue to keep coming back over and over again and wanting to have a special event. But the point of the matter is I'm here today to point out that safety, health, and the protection of our agricultural zoning, farming should be our prime concern here. Please consider the entire reason as to why Ford County wrote, adopted, and put in force zoning regulations outside the city limits of Dodge City in the last century. The prime purpose of these agricultural zoning laws was and is to preserve farmland by restricting non-residential use and managing development within these areas. When you look at an aerial map of this area that you have in your hand there, you can see how deep this is into the agricultural farmland of Ford County. It should be easy to make a decision that is both the letter and the spirit of our zoning regulations as to what to do. Preserving farmland and assisting the farmer in harvesting our food supply is the safest and most economical way is what we should be looking at. We need to assist the farmer in being able to feed all of us and the rest of the country. And I want to emphasize the fact this facility they're asking for and these special events is literally right in the middle of our farm area. I have another picture here that highlights this, and I want to pass this out too. It's taken from a much higher elevation, and it shows the areas. Hope you let me reclaim my time while I pass these things out, please.
Yeah. I didn't start till late.
Okay, thank you very much. I can be wordy. The point I'm trying to make here, if you look at this right here, for example, this is literally right in the heart of a farmland. Look at the color all the way around there. Everything is agriculture. And it's literally only 4.3 miles to the West Ford County line, and it's only 4.49 miles to the Dodge City limits. This literally is going to cause problems for farmers, and I wanted to emphasize that, okay? And because when you look at that map, you can see how this 9 acres stands out like a purple tree in a green forest. This request to use this property like this will make it harder to farm that area that's deep in the farm area of Ford County. It will not be safe, and if one event is allowed, they will want more without meeting the requirements of the conditional use application that they gave up on due to either the high costs or the fact they just didn't want to invest that much money in it. The other thing too is this past week, on August 13th, for example, you may notice there the pictures of what that site looked like after a 1.2 inch rain there. There's a large pond there. All the ruts that had been in the road were washed out by the amount of rain that went through there. And you'll see that on that handout I gave you, the picture, those 9 pictures of what it looks like. It wasn't pretty. It was very muddy looking. You could see when the cows were walking through it, they were going down deep. Just visualize what would happen in the event there's an event there, it starts to rain, and all those people are stuck on an incline that has to go up to get out to the road, and all that water coming in. It's just not going to be pretty. I also, while I was there, and this concerns, I had to report it to the Sheriff's Department. While there, I noted that a longhorn steer had escaped from the site on the west side of the property into the next property. I called the Sheriff's Department to let them know of the danger this carries for all to know if it should get into the roadway. I'm glad to say they took my call, they responded, and as far as I know, they went ahead and did something about it. I've also talked to Brandy, and one other person, she tells me, also has called the Sheriff's Department. They too have noticed this, and they've had to respond. And then I was talking to this gentleman right here, and he knows of 3 different instances the same thing has happened again. This is a serious accident that has been waiting to happen. I have requested a report from the Sheriff's Department to let us know how many instances like this have been called in since August 16th, 2023, because I'm thinking it's a very serious situation. The point of this is the fact that this road is dangerous in the morning when the sun is just right to blind you when you are traveling east into the sunrise. There have been accidents with cars hitting cars plus animal hits. It is not pretty. I've had the opportunity sometimes when an animal was hit, the Kansas Department of Parks and Welfare will call me in. They help me load up the animal and I feed it to my wolves. Okay, they're very kind in doing that. And I want you to know, none of the accidents have been pretty. The car was very, very damaged. I would also point out that this rural road is mostly only 20 foot wide. Just so you know, in Dodge City, when a road is only 20 foot wide, it is one way. And I can give you an example of this. Lynn Street, for example, that goes to Lynn Street School, as soon as it becomes 20 foot wide, it becomes a one-way street. This is not a road for large amounts of traffic. It's a farm road. It's not even striped. It has no shoulders, and if it's rained, we're going to have problems there. So I wanted to point that out. So in conclusion, I would ask you to decide this matter on the fact that if it cannot be made safe, it will hinder the production of food crops in the heart of farm area. It will be hard to police, and it is not per the letter and the spirit of our zoning regulations. So I ask you to vote once and for all on this matter of this site. No shortcuts be allowed by special events, because the point is I think we'll all suffer sooner or later if that happens. And personally, I don't want to hear about a child. It's a real problem here. We have lots of people who live on this road that take their children to Sunnyside School. And I'm sorry to say, when school starts, that's when the sun is in the worst position parts of the year. I literally have to keep a special advisor when I take my grandson to school to keep the sun from blinding me. And then I worry about other people maybe not having it and running into the back of me. I cannot emphasize to you how really bad that is. But you've got the pictures there of what it looks like when it rains, where the water's going. You've got the reports on the steers getting out of there all the time, and nobody's there to put them back in. I honestly, frankly believe sooner or later someone's gonna get hurt very, very badly. And I just want us to all know that so that they be made to do a better fence. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I can stay as long as you want to answer them, because I've got lots more information for the next meeting.
Perfect.
And I will be back, as all of us will, for the next one, since it's been tabled. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, microphone is still open. If anybody else wants to come forward.
I'm Bill Bacon. I live out there on the west side of this proposed operation. And I'm just here to reiterate what Lowell just broke out with, and to bring to your attention the fact that I've got neighbors to the south with small babies, 3 and down, and a neighbor to the southeast with a very, very ill wife that's day to day. And I want this all taken into consideration, whether we want to have that kind of music play until midnight, 1, 2, 3, whatever. And the livestock in the road is getting worse every day. And I watched them, there was 5 head out the other day when I called it in. And I watched them wade through that fence like professionals. They do it every day. But anyway, that's all I want to bring to your attention, that, yeah, we've got to stop this. Thank you.
Thank you, Darrell.
Commissioners Bryce Martin, as you should know probably. Commissioner Test, I guess I just would ask if you would have more information on your resolution before it came in front of us, just so if we do have public comment, we don't know what to comment on, I guess. Are you planning on voting on something, or is this
So,
something we can look at?
so we talked about visiting and hopefully amending our zoning regulations.
Yep.
And what this would do is put a temporary moratorium on any new projects being submitted before we get something finalized with the zoning regulations regarding that.
What time limit are you thinking?
Well, that'll be coming up here. Right now, what we're thinking is the end of the year.
Okay. 5 months.
Which, in a, you know, and that could be rescinded beforehand if we get the zoning regulations fixed or whatever.
All right.
And are you counting only new?
Right. that
Would
would
it
just-
still
that would
incorporate
just-
this?
No, these guys would,
Grandfather?
these guys would be exempt from that. You
Yeah,
guys'
it
deals
it was
are-
more an industry
is already done,
industry
yeah.
question. You know, moratoriums are scary because they have kind of a bad connotation, but a 4 or 5 month one to work as an industry, we're willing to talk about it. But
This is really to give us the opportunity to get through the zoning amendment process again, and get that hashed out without having a whole bunch of stuff come in,
Sorry,
trying to beat the.
sorry to make you hash that twice, but it's hard to comment if you don't know what to comment about.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Bryce?
Yeah. May I?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Victor Russell. I live out there on Marshall Road. I just recently found out about you guys' special event and what they're wanting to do out there. I moved out there 14 years ago when my daughter first turned 1 because of the rural route area, the being out in the country, being more quieter and everything else, and for getting out of the city. So that's the reason why we moved out there. Now, if you guys are gonna be putting in this special event thing, and we're gonna be having a lot more traffic up and down this road, like Ricky said, it's only 20 feet wide. Is the county gonna redo our roads? Are they gonna redo their roads out there, make them wider, make it safer, if you're gonna be allowing this to go in, which I am opposed of it. I'm not gonna, wanna make it very clear, I am very opposed of it. But if the county's gonna go forward with this, are they gonna put forth the money and effort to widen our roads, put shoulders on there, and make it safe? My daughter's just now starting to drive. She's gonna be driving up and down these roads. And you're gonna be increasing the traffic with these cattle drivers, cattle trucks, everything else. I drive for professional living. I see so much on these county roads and different things where people are hauling cattle up and down these roads, how they swerve over and everything else, and how dangerous it can be. Let alone for little children that are just starting to drive. These people that don't drive up and down these roads all the time. So I am definitely opposed of it. And not only for that, for other things that are gonna come along with it. So I just wanted to voice my opinion on that.
Anyone else?
Commissioner?
Yep.
Or commissioners?
Come on.
Administrative. My name's Jason Brown, and I work for a company called Energy. I'm one of the directors on Greenville Express project, and I was wondering if I could get a copy of the proposal that y'all talked about during the working session. Now, that's easy. Thank you very much. I will have our attorneys look at this, and just a lot of questions come up as she gave her presentation that I'd have a lot of positive concerns on, but I appreciate this. Thank you, ma'am, and I'll have our attorneys.
Jason,
Thank you.
what questions would you have? What would make you pause?
Well, one of them, just off the cuff, and by no means is this questions that the attorneys have, because I'm sure they want to look at this and really review it, but if you have a bid process and then you redo the bid process, I mean, I'm nobody's attorney, and nobody wants me as their attorney either, but when one of the other companies that won the bid, submitted, went through the process, won the bid, and then you award it to somebody else, and somebody else is allowed to come back and literally resubmit a bid that is less than everybody else's by $1. I'm nobody's attorney, but some attorney somewhere is gonna sue somebody. And that just seems like that's a whole lot of attorneys, and I think there's one in the room, no offense meant, sir, at all, but in that process, there's a whole bunch of attorneys that end up making a whole bunch of money, and just everybody else has got to deal with it. So that's just one that I listen to. I have a lot of questions about it, but
So can I speak to that?
Yeah, the microphone's open.
Yeah, so what I would say to that is that this is actually a very common practice in the construction industry, and New Mexico in particular has this, almost this exact provision for their state-let projects. You know, New Mexico wants their local contractors to go to work on their projects, so they have this provision. Also, the city of Wichita often has this provision, and I will bring somebody to the next meeting that can speak to that. But this is not unusual, what I'm asking for. It's pretty common, actually, and I'm glad to address any concerns like that.
and with all due respect, man, we've never met before, and I'll discuss this as long as somebody wants, but yeah, the state of New Mexico, when the state is letting a project, that the state can put whatever they want on it.
And so
as
can,
the
and so
city,
can Invenergy.
But
Yeah.
But you're not asking Invenergy to do this. You've asked a government body to impose something on my company that then, I don't know how it's enforceable, but I'm not an attorney. But you're getting outside my company's not borrowing money from the county.
Mhm.
And so I just don't know how. I've never heard of this before. I've been in the energy industry for quite some time, and I've never heard of a government project, a government-funded project, but not a project that isn't being financed by the government.
Sure, I
mean,
understand your
and I would
concerns.
ask another question that, so if your company submits a bid and you're not the lowest, but if I understood it correctly, you're within 10% of being the lowest, then you get to come back and underbid the lowest bidder by $1. What if that other lower bidder is another local contractor, somebody here in Ford County? What if both you and somebody else had the exact same number and it's the low bid?
Well, I
Then-
would say whoever's low then gets it, because we just want it to go to local, right? So I'm not gonna argue with you if, what is it, RJA, he's your dirt mover in Ford County, RJA?
I don't know if they're still in business.
I just
But I
don't-
would say, I would never say, oh, you can't give him the job because he's low. I mean, the whole point of it is we put someone local to work. It does not have to be MJE. If you guys wanna cut me out, okay. I just want those dollars to stay local.
I guess I'm concerned that you just feel you're getting cut out. If you make application and you're a qualified bidder, there's a vendor and bidder process, I mean, that we have, that
Sure.
a lot of companies have. If you don't want to apply, I can't force you to apply. I can't force you to be a bidder, but now you're asking my company to essentially disregard everybody else that goes through the process and bids, and then you just, I just don't know how it works without attorneys suing everybody.
Right,
I just
so-
take great pause at it, so,
My attorney served 8 years in the Kansas legislature, so I'm sure he has proposed a provision that is legal within the state of Kansas. But I would be glad to bring him to the next meeting so that he can answer these sorts of questions.
Lowell's got a question.
I am a licensed general contractor. I bid projects, put up bonds and performance bonds. I've been doing it for over 40 years. I've done it in Ford County, Stewart County, Finney County. I've run into situations like this, and frankly, what he's discussing may happen in other sites. Like I was once, had an office in Arizona. The laws are a little different there, but Kansas, every time I've been the low bidder and the money was publicly funded, I got the project. Twice that didn't happen, and I pointed out to them, and then I wrote a letter, very carefully, had my attorney sign it, sent it to them, and guess what? I got the job, because they knew I was on good legal ground. So, and when it has come to, when two bids are quote exact, I remember an instance where I was 19 cents less, and the engineer come up to me afterwards and say, thank you, Lowell, because I was gonna toss a coin to see who gets it, but I got it. But the point is, in all the times I've been bidding projects where public money is involved, it's always been per the Kansas state law, because I make a point to know what it is. And so if I'm the low bidder, I got it, or the job just got quote unquote dismissed and they didn't do it, okay? And it's true, sometimes if you come back, they change deals, it's all the bids are with outside the engineer's estimate, then by Kansas state law, they're supposed to reject the bid if it's outside too much, and then rebid it. And then I had to come back and bid it again, and then I might not be the low bidder. But that's part of the business right there, and I never felt an instance where I had to sue because I was the low bidder the first time, but not the second. That's just the way it works, that's all.
and the gentleman's right. And one of the most important words he just said was it was a publicly funded project,
Right.
and this isn't.
That's-
And I think,
That's where the disparity.
and maybe that's the largest difference there, so.
Yeah.
But commissioners, we'll absolutely have our legal folks review this, and thank you for your time. Sorry to interrupt your meeting.
No, it's fine.
Yep, I'd like to talk to Mr. Invenergy there. I'm from Ford, Kansas, on the city council there, and they've never approached us, and they're out there, or somebody's out there surveying south of Ford for this Invenergy line, and I don't know that it's been approved yet. And we want it moved south.
The GBX main line, the
I'm
Greenbelt
talking
Express,
from Buckland to 117.
the Greenbelt Express,
No, this ain't the Grain Belt Express. This is the Invenergy's unit that comes up from Buckland to Coronado Bridge Road.
so the
Collection deal.
the AC collector lines.
Right, and it hasn't been approved yet. And if it has, they better be contacting us, because we own property all around Ford, and nobody said a word yet.
So it has gone through the process.
It hasn't been approved by the KCC, has it? It hadn't a couple weeks ago.
I don't know where it's at on.
Well, we had the meeting here in Dodge City at the high
Yeah.
school.
There's been meetings, and there are conversations and things that are going on, and we've had several meetings, and
I know you have.
may have
I've been there.
You may have been at some of them, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And I just want to know, how come we're not being contacted? They're coming across the property with little satellite beetles and surveying.
I don't know exactly who that is.
I
And
don't know either.
if you've stopped them and you have somebody's card, I can figure that out. But we are still in that process.
We
There's,
wrote KCC, the city did, and my brother did, he's also interested. Because they're going right across on an angle, right south of Ford. And hey, it ain't working. They can go south a mile if they have to. I'm against the line, but if they're gonna do it, they don't need to cut our quarter or section
the,
down.
the KCC will tell us where the line is going to go. And they will give us, just like they did with the Greenbelt Express Transmission Project, they will give us, here's left and right limits, and then there'll be individual conversations with landowners that are on that route.
It's not done as far as we're concerned. I mean, they ain't been doing nothing or talking to anybody. We've got several, well, we own several quarters there, plus, my brother and several others.
If I can get your name when we're done here, I'll pass it along and make sure somebody reaches out to you, sir.
Okay, they didn't even talk to our city council or anything. Less than a half mile from our city, on the south side. If they go where they project it. So, anyway.
I'll let you two connect after the meeting. That works
Absolutely.
out? Yep, okay, perfect,
Yes,
thanks.
sir. Okay.
Moving on, we have no legal counsel, so we will go right into the county administrator's report.
First item is for M. Zaney. Go ahead, Nancy.
Right. So I want to make a couple points in addition to the work session. I don't want you guys to think I'm trying to strong arm you by saying I'm not going to bid on this project if this provision is not included. I just want to better paint the picture of why that would be a concern for me. Historically, and I think you probably saw it on Hillmore Cheese, and you've seen it on some big projects around Dodge City. They ask the local contractor to bid. They pump you for all your information. Who's your concrete supplier? Who's your aggregate supplier? Where are you getting your geotech material? Where are you getting your rebar? They make you submit all of that with your bid. And then they don't award it to you for whatever reason, and they give that to their buddy, who they want to build the project. That's our biggest concern, because we have seen it happen so many times in Southwest Kansas. And that's why we came to you with this provision, is because we keep seeing it. Invenergy gets their attorneys involved, which I respect and understand. They've got a lot deeper pockets than Heather Jantz. So how long can I fight this? I don't know. That's why I'm asking for your consideration. And I just will say that we would like the opportunity for our attorney to talk to your attorney and Invenergy's attorney, so maybe we can all get on the same page, right? Because ultimately, our goal is to partner in Ford County with Invenergy and with you. We'd like to see some of those dollars stay at home. So if you would give us time to make the vote so that we can better build a case for you, I would ask you to give us a little time, maybe a month from now, we can come back and talk about it again. That's what I'd like to do.
Yes, that's what I would suggest, Chairman, is that, if there's an opportunity for you and other contractors to get together with Invenergy or some of the other project managers and try and flesh something out that affords the opportunity for our local contractors to be able to bid, number one, and that they have the same bid parameters as everybody else gets, number two. I think that's important, and I think that would be something I'd like to see it for our local contractors to have an opportunity here.
And I think what Invenergy was saying earlier, what was it, Jason?
Yes, ma'am.
Jason.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, what he's saying is, well, we will give you the opportunity, and what I'm telling you is, yeah, they will, they'll let us bid it. That's where the buck stops. And if I thought it was any other way, I wouldn't be here today, right? I wouldn't be asking you to do this if I really thought they will give the local contractors a shot. You know, MJ, we've been here for 50 years. We're capable, and there's a lot of capable electricians, earthwork movers, concrete companies. There's a lot of capable contractors in Southwest Kansas. But we don't want to all go do all the work of bidding your project just so they can hand it off to the guy from Denver. So let's give it a month where we can gather more information for you and try to get to a place where we can all agree. That's what I would say.
I don't know that we actually had an
There-
action.
there's no
item on
action
this
here. Right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
this is
so
just
I think that's,
discussion.
yeah.
Is there any other thing that you guys would want to ask me about in that respect? I mean, you know, I would prefer not to start my relationship with the general contractor as I forced you to take my bid, right? Nobody, that's not good business. However, I know the business, and I know I need to be here to give a shot.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Next item is for Bluesdale Solar.
Welcome, Bryce.
Commissioners, JD, Debbie, Bryce Martin again, if you don't know me yet. So, as part of the project that we went through your CUP process, I think you're all very familiar with our project. We purchased 11 acres for some of our transmission. It made sense for the project, made sense for the landowner. Having bought that property from driving by it on the road. So we bought it sight unseen, having not driven on the property. That property was bad. 300 plus tires, mattresses, trailers,
Frames.
pipe, frames, shingles, concrete. I mean, you name it, they found it. 20 some loads, 24, 28 loads to the dump. I mean, a lot of dollars in tipping fees.
Yeah.
We've got it cleaned up. We're fencing the property so everybody kind of knows the bounds. We originally worked with the railroad, so we have a wireline crossing with the railroad. Originally, we had requested a crossing agreement for a road there, and they denied it. They said if they approved it, it would be approved in a new set of rules, and crossing arms and lights and all kinds of things may or may not come into play. So they were not, they weren't really comfortable with opening that officially. In that, we determined that crossing is not supposed to be there. The crossing from Lariat Way onto Armentrout actually goes onto the property we bought and then over to Armentrout, really on our property. So in this cleanup process, it was A, Armentrout's a dead end on the property we bought. B, how do we stop it from being another local city dump? And that was put up a gate on the north end of Armentrout that requires a road closure. We've been working on with the railroad. I sent an email to them saying, hey, still need your letter. They told us they were gonna approve the closing. I think they sent an email, I sent it to Debbie. I think you have it. So they're in favor of it because they don't want somebody crossing their tracks illegally. I met with Sheriff, again with the chief this morning. We talked through some emergency access concerns. We have opened up that southern property from the west end. So there used to be a makeshift fence made out of tractor tires and other junk on the very west end of that property. We've removed all that, so now people emergency services can traverse the south side of that entire not the trailer park, the owned parcels. So the interior of our property will still be accessible from the west. The sheriff asked that we put up a gate and a fence instead of rebuilding the berm. The railroad had a berm there. That berm's been driven over enough that it's no longer a berm. We were gonna reinstall the berm. I think what we talked about is maybe put a fence up with a gate at our property line. We can't put it at the berm because that's railroad right away. So we'll put it at our property line, put up enough fence that you can't drive around the gate. There's enough stuff to the west. And we're under agreement in an emergent situation, cut the lock and go through our property. We're not gonna maintain that road anymore, but, in an emergent situation, they're gonna go where they need to go. But we very well know that our fence or gates will be cut in an emergent situation like that. So, this is a matter of just trying to keep a property clean that we spent $40,000 on trying to clean up. We've also signed a contract with a local guy to mow it, so it'll continue to be maintained. So, any questions on the closure? It's quite a bit of why.
Is this something that requires viewing, or is that
It doesn't, because the petitioner is also the adjacent landowner, and if the petitioner is the adjacent landowner, you don't have to do a viewing.
okay?
But you do have to have a public hearing. And there's a publication requirement, and just computing it out, the date for the public hearing will be the second meeting in September.
Okay.
We do on both sides of the portion we're asking to close.
Very good. And it dead ends in your property, so there's nothing.
It dead ends at the railroad right away.
Right.
But there's no legal recognized crossing there.
Okay.
And that's what the map on the second page of that email shows, that the trailer park portion, that entrance, essentially the west entrance to all that is a DOT recognized crossing. But the makeshift crossing, or farmer crossing, I would call it, onto the former Reyes properties.
Bryce, you have how much land there? 7 acres? 10 acres?
I think it's actually 11.
11.
Between the two parcels.
Yeah.
If I had 11 or 12.
This is different thought. Right next to the high school is a trucking company, and the city has had desire to move them when they actually put in the roundabout, so that truck traffic is not coming into the high school and then dodging kids driving in as there's movement. I think they've been looking for a place to move those guys, a trucking company. This might be a good spot, maybe one of those parcels to the east, or maybe even one on that corner, where just giving you an idea that if you're trying to think of the good of the community, that might be a good transition where maybe they get out, I don't know, they have 2 acres there, but they're in 4 because they're way across their property line, and the city's made, or the school district's made note of that. The city is the kind of engagement. It might be a nice place to get them out of.
Again, we'll likely own it through construction.
Right.
After that, I don't know what the plan is. It made more sense for the two landowners that had it to sell it than do an easement. We were open to that, and kind of that added benefit in the end was cleaning it up for us.
Yeah.
Because it needed to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if that's somebody that you think would be potential user in the future, I'm sure we'd be open to it.
Yeah.
Again, we do not have a future plan for that side other than to maintain it while we own it.
For those of you in the room, if you're trying to figure out what this is, because Armantrout's not like on the top of people's mind, but I can tell everybody's like thinking about it, write the name down, probably trying to figure out how to spell that word. It's Green Acres is what they call that area. So,
It's if you drive as far east in Green Acres as you can,
Yeah.
on the road, I don't know its name.
Trigo?
Yeah, the north-south road.
Toro.
Yeah, the north-south road that El Toro dead ends into is Armantrout. And so if you go north, there's 2 or 3 properties. If you turn right, there's 1 property, but then we would close from there south, because technically it dead ends, but it is a throughfare.
And there used to be a community building slash church slash something that.
There
was
is,
just-
we would close south of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's the southeastern property, church, we call it the church.
I drove out there with the chief one time, and I think there was an orange couch right in that corner. It looked like a nice spot. that people just.
Orange couch is no longer there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a landfill.
It was rough.
Just so you all know, we had a good conversation this morning. Was for this earlier on today. Obviously, the concerns Rob and I've got, it is a community. There's just as many kids, children, as there are adults out there, so it's plugged up, it's congested. Anytime we've had a structure fire or something out there, just one unit, it plugs the roads. But on the north side of their property line, the south side of the tenants, there is gonna be an easement in between the church specifically, because you see there's heavy traffic in and out of there, and then the residents to the west, immediate residents to the west. So when they put their fence up, there's still gonna be some allowance there for some of those citizens to get in and out of their properties, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, there's a statutory alley there that we've respected with our fence. We're just trying to stake a line of our line.
Yeah.
That was our biggest deal, being able to get fire trucks or something in there, get that fire that got out of control. That War was here 2 years ago, I think, and ended up all the way down there, so obviously we were the entire area today. I was happy after the meeting and clear understanding of what the intentions were for Portland, and cleaned up and taken care of.
It's amazing. Yeah. Clean it.
It's if you've been there before, it's different.
I didn't walk through the property, but I've seen it from the road there, out in the driveway.
You'd pick up a piece of something, and there'd be another piece of something
Underneath, yeah.
When I first got on the commission, there was a trailer house that was on its side and caught on fire and turned in the wind. And went down there with prior chief, and we looked at it, and what was wild was we went through a pothole that the truck just kind of disappeared into. It kind of came out the other side. So Road and Bridge at the time came out there and actually filled it with rock and put some gravel down the road. And we got a call maybe about a month later that all that rock and gravel was up on all the houses. And it was a swimming pool. And the kids were literally playing in the pool the next time I went out. I was like, this is amazing. Like, just, it's a culture.
Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me when I go out there.
Yeah, yeah. Appreciate that.
So you're thinking public.
So we have to have a public notice and then a public hearing.
Yeah, we have to, Debbie has to give notice for a minimum of 20 days of the proposed closing and have a public hearing.
Okay.
And then we also have to publish it twice in the Globe, and then have the public hearing 20 days after that second publication. And so that second date in September works well for that.
So do we need action out of this meeting to start that process, or just?
Well, the only thing that'd be good, the purpose of this meeting is actually to acknowledge that you've received the petition for
Yep.
vacation of the road, and that the petition is sufficient, which it is, and to go ahead and put the process for a public hearing.
Okay.
That would be a good motion.
So I would make that motion to start the process of the public hearing for dedication of, I'm sorry, what was the road?
Parliamentary Avenue.
Guy's last name.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, guy that owned it, the second or first, one of the owners in the chamber.
Okay, that's my motion.
All right. I will second that. So first we have a motion to approve the road petition and start the process for vacating the road. So we have a motion second. We'll go ahead and call a vote on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes.
Debbie, if I need, you need any mapping or anything for the publication, just Okay, you have what you need for the publication?
And
Okay.
it gives-
If you need anything else, just let us know. You know
We
where
have another spirit.
We have it.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bryce.
The next item is the amended item, slot number 3.
Mr. Chairman, if it pleases you, read this about the resolution. Resolution number 2024-33 would be a resolution establishing a moratorium and providing for the suspension of certain types of conditional use applications in consideration on any land within the unincorporated area of Fort County, and directing that the potential land development regulations be reviewed and developed. And I am making a motion to adopt this resolution, 2024-33, which would establish this temporary moratorium through the end of this year, with the understanding that it can be rescinded before that time if we get zoning regulations and things like that amended to our satisfaction and adopted. That is my motion.
In all openness, I printed that, didn't see it on the agenda, haven't fully digested it. So I don't know that I want to second, but not saying I don't think it's a good thing. I probably just want to make sure that I've read it. I just gave my copy away. But I have it on my phone. So, but I just want to make sure I understand it before I do anything, and I'm not sure if Commissioner Smith feels the same, or if he's ready to make action. But I wouldn't mind actually understanding it more, is my thought. So I don't know if we can wait till
That place, that place has been a problem forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, we're on the next topic, which is, it's not actually on the agenda, but it is what we got from Glenn's assistant, Judy LaRukowitz. Did I say that right? Man, I don't think I've ever said that out loud before.
I've said it many times.
So that is in your email, Commissioner Snook. Yeah.
We do have a motion on the floor.
And we do have a motion on the floor, just he's looking for a second on it.
Mr. Chairman, in the absence of a second, I will withdraw the motion and make a motion to table this to the first meeting in September.
Yeah,
September 3rd. Give you guys time to review it.
Okay. I would second that. And I do appreciate that. So there's a motion second to table the resolution memorandum. Is that easy enough? So we're gonna vote on that. So we have a motion second to table the resolution memorandum until the next commission meeting. I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
The next item is for Communications Director Elliot Link.
Everything I've done is far less controversial, so. The agreement that you have in front of you is an agreement that we've been working on for the last 3 years, to enter into an agreement with Douglas County. We've been working on that relationship for over 5 years, but essentially it allows us to roll our 911 calls over in the absence of an answering party on this end. They would be our primary failover on the state-hosted 911 system.
Elliot, we've got a communication like this with another county as well, is that correct?
Yeah, we have a secondary failover point with Harvey County.
Harvey, so this would be the second.
Yeah, this would be the primary failover.
Okay, and do you need, in your mind, like, kind of discussing this, like, your thought is having, they would then dispatch here for us?
Yeah, so mostly it comes into play when there's a failure of the
System?
the 911 system to answer calls. So either our site drops off the network or their site drops off the network, then we would transfer those calls to them, but we would be the ones taking the call, or they would be the ones taking the call
Okay.
on our behalf.
Okay. I'm impressed you stuck with it for 3 years and didn't find someone else.
They're the best fit, and they stuck with us
Okay.
through it too. All of their systems mirror everything we do. They've actually had to play a little bit of catch up to model their stuff after ours. So it's taken some back and forth to get us to where we've got some clarity. There's some additional steps down the road where we'll actually be able to transfer calls directly to them, to their CAD system from our CAD system and vice versa. And some other data sharing things that we're working on.
Impressive to see.
And I guess continuity of operation stuff that we're working on as far as other things.
I'd make a motion to approve the agreement with Douglas County.
I would second.
Motion second, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
The upcoming meetings, we have the Kansas Emergency Management Association Conference, that'll be September 9th to the 12th. That will be in Manhattan. I don't see Rex in here. And we have the Community Facility Advisory Board meeting, the September 18th. That's at 6:30, that's the tentative date and time. That'll be at the MSB on Chaffin. And we have the International City County Management Association Annual Conference, that'll be September 21st and 25th. That'll be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's all I have for the admin report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, and the last thing in front of us is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And I will second that. I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.